Ladies and gents, my name is Neuro, and this is Lambo versus Serral on hard lead. One of the really cool things about this current ladder pool of maps in 1v1 StarCraft 2 is the names are really questionable to pronounce. A lot of people I've talked to call this map hard lead. But isn't lead hard anyway? Hard lead. That makes more sense to me. It's a hard lead to manage in StarCraft because you can throw at any moment. I'm calling it hard lead, you can sue me. Serral versus Lambo, two of the greatest European Zergs. But no question about it, Lambo is going to be punching up here. Serral is considered to be the GOAT. What sound does a goat make? Ah! That is one of the sounds they make. Lambo goes for the base, 16 hatch, and a 16 hatch. Awesome. So what this means, when both players go 16 hatch, is we need to fill time for a couple minutes, because they're basically going to do the same thing and not attack each other until ling speed. So how's everyone doing? Thank you all for watching the Twitch stream and the YouTube. The lead in pencils is very soft, says the chat. All right, this is a good conversation to have. We're talking about the physical composition of lead. So lead is not a hard metal, it's a soft metal. But this map is hard lead, so it would make for a bad pencil, is what you're saying? There's no lead in pencils, it's graphite. Oh my gosh, the plot thickens. So is lead normally hard? Man. Lambo is a fellow German. You're saying that as a German. You can dent lead with your fingernail. Oh, that's pretty weak. Wow, I'm glad that I learned. This is great. What other material should we learn about? One of the really adorable ones is people pronouncing aluminum versus aluminium. Which do you say? Number 1, aluminum. Number 2, aluminium. Aluminum. Aluminium. Your pencil was shitty. It was even called a number 2. That's a poop joke. I got it. Lambo has 2 lings on the map. Serral has 2 lings on the map. Ooh, a little bit of conflict there. Lambo's lings are feeling feisty. They use their bite attack. Serral's going to go look for this third base. Moving a drone out here. Getting a baneling nest. As part of the wall. Ooh, a ling bane opening this time. Both players going for the 3 hatch ling speed into baneling nest. 7 workers on the line at the natural for each player. Are they going to spend their injects into lings or drones? 10 lings for Serral, 4 lings for Lambo, and 4 drones. So Lambo is going to try to play this defensively. Serral is going to be very offensive. I'm already offended just seeing this. As a millennial, one of my superpowers is to be offended. And Serral is being very offensive with these lings. Units tab, we've got 20 lings in play, 27 drones, and 31 drones for Lambo. Is he going to commit to this with some banes? 2 banes being made at the 3rd. Ling's trying to move into pressure here. Lambo does have banes, and Queen's moving over to defend this. The Ling's getting most of a full surround, but the banes are getting over here. He's going to fall back for a second. These 2 banes could get a decent hit on these 4 banes. These kind of micro interactions are very dicey. 1 misstep and you just throw the game. Lambo made a whole bunch of lings off the back of this. It is a pretty good move whenever your opponent attacks you with Ling Bane to just make a big round of lings in response. Because, and I've made this mistake many times, a lot of times the person who is attacking first drones behind it, as Serral did here. And if you undermake a defense, you can just send these lings and go win the game. So for Lambo to make some lings in response to this makes sense. It can potentially punish greed, but Serral's not going to give an opening here. He's got more defensive Banes. He's still got his Lings. He didn't throw the Lings or trade them out entirely. He, I guess, was pretty satisfied with the reaction he got. He got his opponent to make Banes. He got his opponent to move their Queens. Lambo is getting a Roach Horn and a Lair here, so we're pretty much moving into the Roach phase of the game without too much damage. Units lost tab. Wow, 1 mineral difference. Wait, how? It's gotta be some, like, canceled shit. Like some morphing Bane that was canceled. Or an extractor trick. The triple Queen pressure on this Overlord. Oh, but the Lings threaten. Wow, Serral is hitting with some Roaches here. Kind of run some Lings into the natural. So aggressive. It looks like he might not commit to this, but this is very bold to just be in his opponent's business like that. There was a Spine here. Lambo ended up canceling it. A bunch of Roachling here for Lambo. Oh, Lambo canceled his lair? Oh, man. The mindfuckery here. I guess he thought that Serral was going to all-in him. But Serral just sent his units forward. He didn't even really make that many. Active Forces tab. Serral has less minerals and less gas in army right now. Units tab is 53 workers for Serral and 50 for Lambo. Roach is trying to fight here. Lings and Banes following up. The number of their units are too similar for anyone to really get anything done. Serral goes for a little bit of a counterattack here. Lings also scouting around the bases. 4th base coming up for Lambo. Serral's lair is on the way. His +1 is on the way as well. So very delayed tech this game for both players. They're only getting their lair done in like 6:30 30. But this is pretty common. ZvZ, if you try to get an early lair and a 3rd base, you very often die to hatch tech all-ins of Roaches and Banes and Lings and so on. So, makes sense, both players being diligent and not being too greedy with their tech. I really like how aggressive Serral has been with not really that many units. It's like he's macroing, but he's just up in his opponent's face. So they're like, am I getting all in? And it's like, he's got 18 to 20 Lings, which is something. It's not crazy, and he's droning behind it. Or even that Roach Bane posture he did. He just like ran up here and then basically ran home. Didn't really trade out the units. He still kept his Roach clump. Oh my gosh. He's doing a Roach drop. Did he clear vision all on the left-hand side? Okay, now the Overlord speed for Lambo is going to see this. Lambo is also dropping him. With Banes. Okay. This is some, like, 2 samurai charging at each other, and one person's going to bleed out more than the other. At the end of this, the Banes are walking to the main. Serral sees it, has Roaches and Queens in position. Meanwhile, Serral's drop in the main. It's going to get a lot of scouting information, regardless of whether or not these get kills. But 4 Roaches, as opposed to 4 Banes, is a lot more sturdy. It's not quite as reliant on your opponent not paying attention. Because even if they are paying attention, they have to get a decent bit of stuff to defend it. And the 4 Roaches aren't one and done like Banes are. So he can go in, get some damage, fly away, wait till his opponent forgets about the drop, go back in. So scouting that hive was really good. You can see Lambo is going for Lurker this time. Roaches are on the map. These Roaches might be a little bit caught out. No, he's got the high ground over here. That's smart. Giving yourself an avenue of retreat is really big. Serral's just got Lings running around, looking for damage. No defense at this base. There would have been a Spine earlier if Lambo didn't cancel that. Ultimately, not a crazy amount of damage, but the lost mining time is substantial. And also, Serral didn't really want those Lings in his max side anyway. So that was a fair harassment trade. Now the Roach drop is in the natural. The amount of disruption of his opponent's larva. I feel like that's one of the things between this game and the other match we watched of Serral versus Lambo. Is Serral does stuff to get his opponent's queens off the hatch while he keeps his queens on the hatch. It's less about huge amounts of drone kills and more about just the scuff. He just makes his opponent's bases scuffed. This base is hurt and there's no queen here. This base has no queen here. This base, there are 2 queens here. So it just messes up his opponent's stuff. Keeping the opponent off balance, out of their comfort zone. But his business is booming. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. He even has the 4th base injected. The larva advantage is so huge in ZvZ. And Serral has it by a lot. And there are roaches in all of the bases now. He actually has roaches in all 4 of the bases. He's killed 28 drones. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Zerg who got tunnel roaches nerfed. Will he get tunnel roaches nerfed again? Maybe. He's going for this 4th base here. He has a monumental supply lead. Working with 1/1 upgrades. Lambo has +1 attack. Yeah, I think he's about to push his opponent over. The lurkers are very strong though. But the problem is the lurkers do need a decent bit of army buffer in front of them. And Ravagers are maybe a soft counter to lurkers. Lurkers deal bonus damage to armored units. So they can really munch roaches. But Ravagers, they can Crocibile and run away sometimes. And they're light, or they're not even light. Ravagers are biological. Biologists have struggled to classify the Ravager. Is it a plant? Is it an animal? Is it a fungus? Is it armored? Is it light? It's not armored. It's not light. But it's alive. So they just say it's biological. Just put it in the general category. Is it a blob? "12 more workers have been killed. The roach punishment simply continues." 66 workers to 33. The thing that Serral does have to account for here is that as he knocks down his opponent's worker count, if Lambo gets to 200 supply, he's going to have a lot of army and supply. Or supply and army. Opposite. Serral has some Vipers now. Roach Ravager Viper is a really fun counter to Lurker Roach like this. You can abduct or Blinding Cloud depending on if they're clumped up or spread out. Like there, you got a clump of 3 of them, Blinding Cloud that. If you've got a single Lurker there or a Lurker in a relationship, you could abduct them. Look at that. Abducts the Roach. Gets the kill. Lambo adjusting those Lurkers. But he is out of steam here. 31 workers, and there were more roaches getting kills in the backline during this. Crazy aggressive game. It's so cool that Serral can be aggressive and macro at the same time. He wasn't even committing to really big attacks. He was just running units at his opponent and forcing his opponent to respond. And I think the real key to his strong ZvZ is being able to keep his opponent's queens off of their respective hatcheries while he keeps his at their hatcheries. So the inject uptime of Serral's macro is pretty close to perfect, and he makes his opponent's inject uptime really scuffed. Excellent play. Massively done.